Well, folks, if you ever needed proof that football is just unscripted theater with shin pads, Arsenal just delivered an absolute blockbuster. Manchester City, the team that's made the Premier League their personal playground for years, got steamrolled 5-1 at the Emirates. Pep Guardiola? Speechless. Haaland? Helpless. Arsenal? Absolutely having the time of their lives. This wasn't just a win. It was a message. And that message? We are him. But before City fans demand a recount, let's break down the scenes of this footballing massacre. 1. 2 minutes in, and Manchester City had their pockets emptied faster than someone flashing an iPhone in Oshodi. Manuel Akanji, bless his heart, decided to take a little too much time on the ball, and before he could say Pep's tactical blueprint, Kai Havertz swiped it like a Lagos pickpocket. One quick square pass later, Odegaard blasted it home like he was settling unfinished business. And just like that, City looked more rattled than a first-time Uber driver in Lagos traffic. Akanji's mistake was so bad, even Arsenal Twitter felt bad, for about 5 seconds. Arsenal fans on social media were in shock, not because of the goal, but because they expected City to at least put up some resistance. One fan tweeted, "We took their lunch money and their dignity. Odegaard hit that ball like it owed him money." The man struck it with such precision and power that even Pep Guardiola had to take a second to process what just happened. If that ball had a credit score, it just dropped 100 points. Akanji must have thought he was playing a friendly because that was some Sunday league-level casualness. Seriously, was he waiting for an invitation? Because Havertz took that ball off him like a thief in broad daylight. Except no need for a getaway car. The Emirates crowd was the perfect escape route. Havertz channeled his inner Robin Hood, stealing from the rich, City's defense, and giving to the poor, Arsenal's goal tally. This was the moment where you knew Arsenal meant business. If you give Kai Havertz space and time, he'll punish you. And Akanji learned that the hard way. If Pep had hair, he'd have pulled it all out after that goal. The City boss was pacing the touchline with the frustration of a man whose Wi-Fi just went out in the middle of a crucial download. A brutal start for City, a dream opening for Arsenal. And just like that, the floodgates had opened. 2. Martinelli's goal. That almost was, but wasn't. Before City could even blink, Martinelli had already dinked the ball into the net with the finesse of a man who just found his confidence. Emirates erupts, celebrations begin, only for VAR to pull up like an overzealous landlord. Offside. It's like ordering suya, only for the vendor to say, "We don't have pepper today." Heartbreaking. VAR is that one friend who reminds you that your jokes aren't funny. Arsenal fans were halfway into their celebrations before VAR decided to play the villain. The slow-motion replay felt like an unnecessary breakup text, painful and totally avoidable. Martinelli went from hero to meme in 30 seconds. The man was already wheeling away to the corner flag before reality slapped him harder than a gust of Harmattan wind. VAR officials must have a dartboard with Arsenal's logo on it because these decisions feel personal. Seriously, was the offside call millimeters or just vibes? Because Arsenal fans are convinced there's an anti-Gunners conspiracy brewing at Stockley Park. VAR has now officially joined mosquitoes and PHCN in Arsenal fans' list of greatest enemies. One moment of joy, snatched away like jollof rice at a crowded wedding. City survived by the skin of their teeth, but Arsenal were not done yet. 3. Haaland strikes. Temporarily. City fans, I won't lie, you had a glimmer of hope. That rare moment in the 55th minute when Erling Haaland reminded the world he still exists. A looping header, and boom, City equalized. But before they could finish typing, Haaland silences critics on Twitter. Arsenal responded like an angry Nigerian mother when you touch the remote. 38 seconds. That's all it took for Thomas Partey to slap City's equalizer out of existence. A deflected shot, a roar from the crowd, and suddenly Pep Guardiola was pacing like a man who just realized he left his pot of jollof burning. Haaland finally found the net, and for a moment City fans thought the balance had been restored, only for Arsenal to pull a "not so fast, my friend." The Norwegian machine had barely finished his celebration when Thomas Partey smashed City's hopes into the nearest dustbin. Haaland's header was a beauty, but Arsenal responded faster than a Lagos bus conductor when you say, "I no get change." The goal lasted about as long as a power supply in some parts of Nigeria. Here 1 minute, gone the next. City fans were typing "We're back" on Twitter, but didn't even get to hit send before Partey ruined their mood. It was like watching a kid blow out their birthday candles only for someone to turn the lights off immediately after. Partey's goal hit City so hard, even Guardiola's bald head looked shinier from the stress. Seconds. That's how long City thought they had turned the game around. Arsenal had other plans. City thought they had a way back into the match, but Arsenal had their foot firmly on their necks. 4. The youth takeover. Louis Skelly and Nwaneri end City's hopes. Now when you're getting cooked, you expect it to be by seasoned professionals, not teenagers. But Arsenal said, nah, let's make it embarrassing. Just when City thought things couldn't get worse, Arsenal decided to bring on the young guns. Miles Louis Skelly, fresh from the academy, probably still using his student ID for discounts, waltzed onto the pitch and made it 3-1 like he had been doing this for years. And just when City were trying to process that, Ethan Nwaneri, who was born when some of City's players were already playing professionally, sealed the deal in stoppage time. At this point, even City's players just wanted to go home. City's defense turned into a daycare, letting kids run riot. If Arsenal's academy is producing stars like this, the rest of the league better start checking birth certificates. Ethan Nwaneri wasn't even born when City won their first Premier League title. Now he's scoring against them. Talk about full-circle humiliation. Guardiola's masterclass in youth development came back to haunt him, except this time it wasn't his players doing the damage. The man prides himself on nurturing young talent, only to watch Arsenal's youngsters run rings around his team. City's defense was so open, they might as well have handed these kids a graduation certificate on the way out. If this is the future of Arsenal, the league needs to be worried. 5. Havertz joins the party. Just when Manchester City thought the nightmare was over, Arsenal decided to twist the knife. Kai Havertz, the man who was once the subject of endless debates, decided to silence all doubters in the 76th minute. Boom, 4-1. One swift counterattack, a composed finish, and suddenly, City's defense looked like it had been pulled straight from a Sunday league match. Havertz scoring against City is like a plot twist nobody saw coming, but Arsenal fans are definitely here for it. The German forward had been called everything from a flop to Chelsea's inside agent, but today, he looked every bit the lethal finisher Arsenal fans had hoped for. City's defense opened up like an expressway at 3 a.m. No resistance, no roadblocks, just smooth passage for Havertz to glide through and pick his spot. Havertz's celebration looked like a man who just paid off his student loans. Pure relief. He knew this goal mattered, not just for the scoreline, but for proving a point to all his critics. Pep Guardiola probably checked his contract twice after that goal, just to see if there was an escape clause. The normally animated City boss looked utterly lost, as if he was watching a horror movie in real time. At this rate, City's backline might as well have offered Havertz tea and biscuits before he scored. The lack of defensive intensity was criminal. Arsenal made them pay in full. By this point, City fans had mentally checked out, while Arsenal fans were already planning parade routes. And just when City thought they could leave with at least some dignity intact, Arsenal delivered the final blow. 6. Guardiola's post-match therapy session. After this absolute demolition, Pep Guardiola had no choice but to face the press, looking like a man who had just realized his carefully curated tactical blueprint had been shredded into confetti. After this national embarrassment, Pep Guardiola had two options: admit he was outclassed or pull out the philosophy card. Predictably, he chose the latter. We lost control, we lost our way, we lost... Pep, my guy, you lost 5-1. Save the speech, big man. The post-match interview was less about football analysis and more about damage control. Meanwhile, John Stones was in full damage control mode, telling reporters, "We have to process this defeat." Process what? City got cooked, grilled, and served on fine china. Guardiola looked like a man who had just finished watching a 3-hour documentary on why pressing doesn't work. The normally animated tactician had that distant 1,000-yard stare, like he was mentally drafting his resignation letter. We lost control of the game. Translation: I have no idea what just happened, but let's pretend we do. Pep's words might have sounded diplomatic, but the confusion in his eyes told a different story. Guardiola pacing up and down the technical area like a man trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Every time the camera cut to him, it was another animated display of frustration, disbelief, and possibly regret. At this rate, Pep is going to start studying Arteta's tactics instead of the other way around. Once the student, now the master, Mikel Arteta is turning the tables on his former mentor. If Guardiola ever writes a book about this season, Chapter 10 will be titled, "The Day Arsenal Humbled Me." This was not just a defeat, it was a tactical disaster that may haunt him for years. As Pep trudged off the pitch, his mind was likely racing with contingency plans, transfer targets, and a desperate hope that his side wouldn't have to face Arsenal again anytime soon. 7. The stats tell a brutal story. For those who love numbers, buckle up, because these stats hit harder than an Arsenal counterattack. This wasn't just a bad day at the office for City, this was statistical humiliation. Now, since you're a numbers person, this part is for you. Arsenal are unbeaten in 14 Premier League games, back to their 2018 Unai Emery form, hopefully without the inevitable collapse. Meanwhile, City? Pep's boys have now conceded 4+ goals in a match 4 times this season. That's more than in any single campaign of his career. Somebody check on the ball genius. And here's the killer stat. City have conceded 53 goals in 36 games this season. That's nearly as much as they conceded in 59 games last season. Basically, their defense has been on permanent holiday mode. City's defense leaked more than an intern with access to club secrets. 4 times this season, City have conceded 4 or more goals in a match, the most in Guardiola's career. That's not just an outlier, that's a pattern. Hear it again. Arsenal are now unbeaten in 14 consecutive Premier League games, the kind of form that makes title dreams feel real. The last time Arsenal had this kind of run? 2018 under Unai Emery. The difference? This time they might actually finish the job. Manchester City have conceded 53 goals in 36 games this season, only 1 fewer than the entire 59-game campaign last season. Pep's defense is cracking faster than a poorly made meat pie. At this rate, they might need more than a January transfer window. They need a full-scale rebuild. Arteta has gone from being Pep's student to his tormentor. After losing 9 of his first 10 managerial meetings with Guardiola, Arteta has now gone 5 straight games unbeaten against his old boss. Somebody get Pep a comfort blanket. City's dominance is no longer a given. Arsenal are proving that they can go toe-to-toe with the champions, and on this evidence, they're not just keeping up, they're leading the charge. 8. The aftermath. Arsenal fans versus City fans versus the world. As the dust settled, the fallout from this game spread across social media like wildfire. Arsenal fans were in absolute heaven. City fans were questioning their life choices, and neutrals? They just brought out the popcorn. Arsenal fans are now louder than ever. If you thought they were unbearable before, just wait until they start making compilation videos. Every social media platform is now flooded with clips of the goals, memes of Guardiola looking lost, and endless victory laps. City fans are reacting like someone told them Santa Claus isn't real. Utter disbelief and denial. Many are grasping at straws, blaming the referee, fixture congestion, or even the grass length at the Emirates. Neutrals are just here for the drama, watching the chaos unfold with a bucket of popcorn. There's nothing like a high-profile thrashing to get football Twitter in full swing. Pundits are suddenly full of wisdom. After months of doubting Arsenal, they're now claiming they always knew Arteta had something special. Hindsight is 20/20, and the football world is full of conveniently timed hot takes. In the grand scheme of things, this match has shaken up the title race and given Arsenal a surge of momentum. Whether City bounce back or continue to crumble is another story. But for now, the Gunners are the kings of the Premier League battleground. Closing. The biggest reality check of the season? So, what did we learn today? Arsenal are serious title contenders. City's defense is doing an impression of a defense, and Pep Guardiola might need a personal therapist after this one. But more importantly, never ever underestimate the power of Emirates Stadium when the vibes are right. What do you think? Is Arsenal really coming for that title? Or was this just a beautiful disaster for City? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more savage football takes. Until next time, stay winning, or at least don't lose 5-1.